If Faze just took the quick scope in and doing all that shit, what happened to Faze with the roots? Let's be honest. Whatever, how falling off you think Faze is now, it'd be even worse, man. That shit gets no traction. It's about entertaining your viewers at the end of the day.
I'm not gonna lie to you, your rage. I wholeheartedly agree with everything that you're saying. And to be honest with you, it's a lot of the reason why we saw a lot of these esports companies go under. What's going on, everybody? Let's get into the real meat and potatoes as to why Faze is going through this rebrand. And they're doing something that I actually like with this one because they're bringing the content, new age content, back to the platform under their big name that they have. So if you've been living under a rock, or maybe you just don't follow the Faze page in general, the Faze clan page hit Control-Alt-Delete in a tweet, and they had this little cryptic computer glitchy graphic on their screen, and people were wondering what that meant. But we got clarification really fast when Faze Banks put out a tweet of all these names and follows that up with saying everyone else is out. That is the roster. Now that left a lot of people thinking, well, what's going on right here? Because honestly, there's a lot of names that we know, we love, and they are just not gonna make the cut. Is Faze going in a whole different direction? What does this really mean for the future of Faze clan? You know, just a Faze name in general. And especially because this is coming off of the heels of Faze Banks earlier in the month saying that they fired a shit ton of people. People really want to know what's going on here.
Aren't you getting rid of a bunch of like actual video game creators? It's about getting back to the core value of it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be about keeping video game creators?
We're cutting all kinds of people. We had something like 140 employees this time last year. I think we have 30 right now. I want to cut that down even further to like 10. That as long as the brand is, as long as the people who are a part of the brand, you know, that roster of 10 people are all on the same page, have the same focus, have the same vision, and are incentivized the right way.
Faze is an OG staple in the game, so to hear that they're going through this turmoil is very disheartening. But I think it's for a good cause because we know once they went corporate, things started to go totally left and people were very dissatisfied with what happened. Faze Banks said in a tweet, "My shares were legitimately stolen from me. I was written out of the company, stripped, stolen. My shares weren't reissued, reinstated for over 7 years, and only ultimately were because they had to be for them to take it public. I've never had a say, a vote, any sort of actual real control. I have never sold a share or profited from this brand outside of a working class salary. I'd be able to suck it up if I made a poor decision and sold. That simply isn't the case. Shit was literally stolen from me." And as we see a lot of these brands becoming more legitimate, these young content creators rising up from the ranks of just creating content to coming into the corporate sphere, I think that they can learn a lot from the Faze issues and stuff that they went to. Not going corporate and having them take names and take right. We're seeing Kai Cenat, Agent, and some of the other AMP people start to deal with all these other companies, but they're still maintaining who they are in control of not only their content, but ultimately their name. And then they don't have to do a bunch of corny gimmicks in order to satisfy the company.
Like us paying members to put Faze in their name, having that be the relationship, like that doesn't work. I want no part of that. It doesn't do anything for either side. We're not Red Bull, bro. We're not like, you know what I mean? We're not trying to slap our logo on top.
Talk a lot about this.
It's very true.
What he's saying is absolutely true because at the end of the day, it becomes inauthentic. There's no real relationship, no rhyme or reason why these people would have this name here other than simply a cash grab. And if the whole point of this young new creator sphere, the whole new generation that's coming up is authenticity, you're only going to hurt your name and your brand when you start to slap your name on people because it'll make you cooler or whatever the case may be. I had a lot of questions when the Bronny James thing came along, but you know, I was killed for that one. I could only imagine a world in which AMP or RDC or even SSB, because I saw Aiden Ross looking for new members, started to just reach out to a bunch of people in a bunch of different places in space that had nothing to do with them, but because they have a name, this other person has a name, we feel as if we can take ownership of you or get creative control or just slap our logo right here. We can sort of build our brand and our identity. It doesn't work out in the long run. People get dissatisfied, and then ultimately you just paid a guy or a girl to put a label on their content and you got nothing out of it in return.
All those people fucking crying about sniping and shit, I understand. That shit is fun to me, but apparently other people don't fucking think so. And you don't either, because you're in the comments fucking crying. When was the last time you watched a fucking quickscope montage? You don't give a fuck.
And what your rage is saying is absolutely true. Quickscoping montages came up through the era of the machinima days or, you know, MW2, COD 4 lobbies, etc., etc. But that was literally a decade ago. There's no way that people think that a brand can sustain itself over a decade decades worth of doing the same exact content. And to be quite frank, esports didn't take off in the US like people thought it would. We thought it would be like some of the more countries on the East that esports is a real thing that they take seriously, but especially during around the pandemic time when people were really dipping their toe into the esports environment, it just did not stick in America like people thought it would. People like football, people like basketball, people like other sports that require some actual hitting, but the schools weren't adopting it, the parents weren't really getting behind it either, and after a certain amount of time, the kids found out that, hey, I am better off making IRL content or making stuff like RP content as opposed to being the best on the leaderboard in a COD lobby. That just doesn't make sense. So now you have to move on to different things. Go the IRL route.
I don't even know motherfucker that they just signed, but dude, he is huge. Chat, if you look at viewership now on Kick and Twitch and whatnot, that IRL streaming stuff, man, that's what's popping right now. It's like, yeah, all of us are in here and we like Call of Duty, we like Apex, we like Halo, you know, we do all that. Like, bro, we're gamers, right? But like, just surge of IRL, just in your face content. And that's what a lot of these people are watching, man. Like with Kai Cenat and Jinxie and these guys at the forefront, I think that a lot of these dudes are going to continue to push live streaming.
And it's a good thing that Nick Merckx mentioned these guys because we're seeing in real time a renaissance of not only content creation, but just the new celebrity class coming from the streaming world. We just saw Sketch on the NFL draft announcing a draft pick, taking over, and him through March Madness and all these other things where players are quoting him and "What's up, brother?" going crazy because they know his name. That's what the new generation is connected to. We see how Kai Cenat is taking over brands like Nike. He's at the All-Star weekend. He is literally a massive icon and a massive figure. The streaming world is not just the Aiden Rosses and the Neons, although they are big contributors, which I thought I would never say. The streaming world consists of these guys too. And I think it's very interesting because, like I said, gaming has not stuck. Yeah, you have a Dr. Disrespect who did definitely have a moment, and I will say he is a big figure, but there's a whole nother world that you have to take over. Same thing with Ninja. Ninja came, he conquered, and then Ninja's kind of gone. He doesn't have the same effect as a Kai Cenat. He doesn't have the same effect as a Jinxie. He doesn't have the same effect as a Sketch. So you have to embrace change in order for you to continue to grow and to continue to succeed. But see, when you talk about bringing in the new, you also have to talk about kicking out the old. And I think that's where a lot of people in this conversation are really upset with some of the Faze members, is because you're gonna see a lot of the notable faces get kicked out for something new. And that's where we insert somebody like Blaze.
Lucas's content is the furthest thing from like how we want Faze represented. I'm just gonna be honest.
Yeah.
99.9% of content on the internet we don't like, it doesn't belong with Faze. I haven't talked to Lucas on the phone in fucking years. Bro, we're old and fucking washed up, you know what I'm saying? Like, we were on the shit you're on 10 years ago, you know what I'm saying? Like,
now Faze Banks has a good point, and Fazekin Blazekin kind of only has not only himself but honestly growth to blame for that, because at the end of the day you're going to grow up and grow apart. Although you are a big part of what started this group, even he can acknowledge that things are just different nowadays.
I think the main reason why I'm not sad about not being in Faze anymore is because this Faze that exists today is not the Faze that I fell in love with. I can be extremely proud that I was a part of the greatest era of Faze. I would be happy to be proven wrong, but I personally believe there will never be a better era of Faze. It was not for the money. We did it because we loved to do it. We loved Call of Duty, we loved trickshotting, and we loved the brand Faze.
Now, if this phase of Faze changing doesn't phase you like it does phase the others, then that's okay. And I would wholeheartedly applaud you because you know when you have outgrown things. But there are some other people out there who cannot get on the same wavelength as you, Fazekin Blazekin. And they decided to say that it's not all love and bash the whole Faze community because of what happened.
I got kicked from Faze. I'm gonna make a YouTube video because it is not all love. It's really hard to be a content creator who had so much love and passion for this team and didn't get a dime from them and still got handed to a shit end to them at the end of the day.
This is my problem with the entitlement of the new creator, the younger creator. Sometimes these opportunities present you with the chance to future-proof yourself. And what I mean by that is you have the opportunity to set yourself up for future success in whatever brand that you make. Don't rely on just the Faze name. You were supposed to take that, run with that, and make yourself somebody. You got a greater head start than a lot of people in their streaming career. You got panels, you got t-shirts, you got extra special events, and that was the possibility for you to tell the world who you are, why you belong, and why they should follow you. But you didn't take the chance or the opportunity to do that. Or maybe you did it in a little way. But at the end of the day, all good things do come to an end. So all these bitter people in the comment section and the tweets and all this other stuff like that, I honestly have no sympathy for those creators that get some sort of artificial boost and then they did not do do what they needed to do in order to make themselves last longer or continue with that audience. We'll see where a lot of these Faze creators go from here, but as far as I can see, it's time for your Rage. It's time for Max. It's time for those different types of content creators to get their shine with a bigger name. And if Faze wants to continue to go on, no, they cannot have the Bland Betties making content under their name. It's just not gonna work. Personally, I believe what's going on with the new additions and subtractions from Faze is a good thing in the long term for the content creation sphere and the brand. If you're not willing to change your content or grow or build something new or different, then that's on you. I don't know if content creation is a long-term career, because at the end of the day, a lot of these people that we're talking about are in their teens, 20s, and early 30s. You have a long life left to live, and if you can't take that moment or that boost that they have given you and maximize what you had from it, then that's totally on you. I don't have sympathy for these people that thought they could do trick shots for the next 10, 15, 20 years. We don't even play video games in the same fashion as we did back then. So why you thought that would last, I have no clue. You don't have a personality outside of the sticks, that's on you. You should have grew one, or you should have known, hey, this is a limited time offer. I am going to build up what I can, get what I can get out of it, and keep it pushing. But let me know what you guys think, because man, I'm excited for the new Faze chapter.